Welcome back. New research shows that even more chemicals than previously thought can cause brain damage and behavioral disorders, and some of those chemicals are found in products that we use in our homes every single day. Deseret News reporter Lane Anderson studied the research and joins us now. Lane, we appreciate you coming in. I know you spent a lot of time on this.
I did.
All right, so you're going to open our eyes to a few things here. First, I'm going to ask, have these chemicals been tested before? You would think going into it that they've all been tested, but is that the case?
You know, shockingly, most of them have not. There are over 84,000 chemicals that are in use in household products all the time. Of those, only 200 have ever been looked at by the FDA. Only 5 of them are regulated. I know, it's really surprising. We live with a lot of chemicals.
Yeah, well, how are these chemicals, I guess, do we know how harmful they are? Because just because we hear the word chemicals, and for some reason, chemicals bad, you know, I don't need chemicals. Right. But do we know how harmful these chemicals are?
Well, we don't know how harmful the 84,000 chemicals are. We do know that some of them are quite harmful. And a brand new toxicology report came out a couple weeks ago saying that there are 6 chemicals that have been linked to brain damage and to neurological disorders in children that are, in fact, in the kinds of chemicals that are in our homes all the time.
All right, so how do we get away from this stuff?
You know what? It's not easy. The bad news is it's not that easy to get away from them. Most of these chemicals are things that are found in flame retardants that are in our clothes. Almost all of our clothes have chemicals in them because they've been treated with flame retardants. Right. And the other major one that's not as surprising is pesticides. We usually think of pesticides in our food, but pesticides are also in cotton, right? Which is what we wear all the time.
True, huh?
Right. So one thing to look at, especially for kids, and that's the first place to look at for kids, is organic cotton. That's not going to have as much pesticides as other products might have. So for your kids' bedding, for example, that might be a place to start.
So organic, probably in a number of ways, is probably best for us. Is that true?
Right, right. That's a good place to start.
Why would you say it's so hard for the EPA to maybe regulate this?
You know, I think it's really surprising. It's been surprising to readers that the EPA does not regulate this very much. And the main reason for that is that the law has not been updated since 1976.
That's a long time ago.
It's a long time. And everybody agrees. Even trade groups agree. It's been too long. There are major lapses and it needs to be updated.
So is that the solution, or do we have any other solutions here? Updating that?
Right. I mean, that seems like a good place to start.
Right.
That's an obvious place to start, right? Because there are so many chemicals now, they're in our bodies, we're born with them. Our grandparents were not born with chemicals in their bodies. We are, because our mothers ingest them, and then we are born with them through our mother's bodies. We're not going to get rid of them easily. They're just part of our lives, they're part of our bodies. So part of what people are looking at is actually innovation, not just eradication, but innovation. Are there ways to actually rid our bodies of these chemicals? But
to detox, so to speak?
Exactly, detox. But most of these are innovations that haven't been made yet. They're things that we're crossing our fingers might happen in the future.
Okay, great insight there. Lane Anderson for us today from Deseret News. Lane, thank you very much. And you can read more about why household products are putting kids at risk online at deseretnews.com. All right, so what exactly did President Obama and Pope Francis say to each other during their meeting? Well, there's a lot of discussion online about that, and it's where we pick up the pulse this week. Join me for that, national editor Allison Pond. Allison, all right, there are a lot of things that we've been talking about. Talk about this. What's the big discussion right now?
Well, the Pope and President Obama met for 52 minutes, almost an hour, and by all reports, they discussed everything from immigration reform to the situation in humanitarian issues and conflict areas, and even touched on the Affordable Care Act and some of the concerns that the Catholic bishops in the United States have over that.
Okay, so that's how they spent their, 52 minutes? Is that what you said?
Yeah, apparently there was some good, lighthearted joking back and forth as well, and the two men seemed to genuinely enjoy each other's company.
What would that be like to say I was joking around with the Pope, right? All right, let's move on to tax deduction that economists love to hate, but has huge support amongst Americans, especially who own homes, and that's the mortgage interest tax deduction. You got details about a new study that says it helps the rich. Has that stirred any debate here?
It has. The study is from the R Street Institute, which looked down at the zip code level, and they found that the mortgage tax deduction does drive up the size of houses in affluent areas, but it does not broadly encourage people to buy. And yet there is still broad public support for it. People really like this tax deduction and they really want to keep it.
Very interesting. All right, this next story may not surprise parents with teenagers, but later school times can improve health, grades, and scores. So are high schools maybe considering a change here?
Some are looking at that, and researchers are going to follow closely what the results are. Teens release the hormone melatonin later at night, and so their bodies don't want to fall asleep as early, and they found that from everything from traffic accidents to academic performance, it really may make a difference for teens if they could go to school a little later. Allison Pond, national editor, some great insight there. Thank you very much. Thanks. All right, and that does it for this week's edition of Deseret News National Edition. We hope to see you back here next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.